Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year. I'm April, your Dime by OESD educator for today's 60-minute start to finish t-shirt adventure. Today is all about how to get a perfect embroidered finish on your knit. I'm going to show you how to create knit-friendly embroideries and how to stabilize for that gorgeous finish that we all want to achieve. But we couldn't do these events without amazing sponsors. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Reen from Embroidery Garden. Reen, Happy New Year. How are you today?
Hi, April. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, it's a good day to have a good day.
It is.
So what kind of cool things do you have coming up? We talked a little bit before we got started, and you had a little bit of some winter cleaning going on in your estrogen estuary, huh?
Yep. I just kind of got my space all nice and cleaned up, ready to start again. It's a little hard to get going again after the holidays, but
It
it
sure
sure does
is.
help if you have a nice clean space.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. So I know usually it's don't pay attention to what's behind the computer. It's chaos behind the computer, huh? But not for you. Not that
Not
you
for
did
me.
your
Mine looks pretty good.
very, very nice. So you have some exciting things coming up for your embroidery gardeners, don't you?
Yeah, I'm going to get back into it here real soon. I'm going to start with some designs where people are wanting some things for their larger hoops that they have now. So I'm going to get into some of that and, continue for designing for the smaller hoops, though, also.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, it's so exciting that, you're wanting or your customers are wanting these bigger designs because within our shopping cart today, we have those new bigger hoops. We'll talk about that later. I know I'm still in your thunder about one of your favorites, but, you know, there's so many other things we can choose from, huh? When I'm asking you about a favorite.
Right. Well, with this t-shirt class, you got to have a sticky hoop. That's kind of, a must have. And I really like the hooping station. If you have a problem hooping, the hooping station is really going to help you out. And, nothing is worse than getting that design crooked on your shirt.
Oh my goodness, isn't that the truth? And you know what? Another thing I love about the hooping station, it's not a one-trick pony. You can use it for hooping, but you can also use it for your ironing station as well. And all of that bulk is underneath the totally tubular hooping station. So I love that they were thoughtful in that design for that one.
Yeah, it's always great to have more than one purpose for your tools.
It sure is. It sure is. Well, Reen, are you ready to start our t-shirt adventure?
Yes, I'm excited.
Perfect. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Will I see you over in the chat?
Yeah, I'll be over there.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's a great transition. So I'm going to bring one more person over, and that's going to be Tammy. Tammy and Reen are going to be over in the chat together. So I'd like you to ask them all of your questions. So Tammy, Happy New Year to you too.
Well, Happy New Year. I'm excited to be back, April. I miss seeing everyone over here in the chat. So, for you guys, welcome back. If you are new, just a reminder, I'm over here in the chat with you guys for the next 60 minutes. Today is going to be a little bit different. We're only a 60-minute presentation, but there's lots of information that April's going to share with you. April, what's the first thing that everybody wants to do? A t-shirt, right? So, today
T-shirt.
you're going to show them exactly what to do and how to get that t-shirt started.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Tammy, we're going to meet up with you about the halfway-ish point. So they can bring live questions over to me so that way I can see what's going on in the chat. I'm kind of alone over here talking to myself. So halfway through, make sure all those questions are brought in. And so we can talk about that through, okay?
Halfway down it sounds good.
All right. Perfect. So we love our t-shirts. They're so soft, they're so comfortable, and they're also that perfect canvas for embroidery and for personalization. With that in mind, here's how the next 60 minutes are going to go. We're going to start by editing designs for those knits. And next, we're going to perfectly place those designs for a left chest logo. We're also going to add in sleeves, and then we're going to finalize out with a center chest embroidery as well. And then we're also going to showcase some cool products that make hooping a breeze. And then we're going to round out the hour with a stabilizer chat. Since this is a learn and shop event, I'm going to give you tips and tricks, lots of information, lots of how-tos. Now, Tammy and Reen are to the right of me in the chat answering all of your questions. So let them know where you're from. Let them know if this is your first time doing embroidery on your knits. Have you used the Dime by OESD software previously? So keep them busy over in the chat. Below us is our shopping cart with all of the products that I'm going to show today at special event pricing. Don't worry if you feel like you're drinking from a fire hydrant with all of the information I'm going to push in this next hour. You're going to have 48 hours to watch and rewatch and use those discount codes to get that specialty pricing. So let's jump in with a left chest embroidery. So what we're going to showcase is we're going to showcase our Dime by OESD software, our Embroidery Tool Shed Plus software. We're going to use this to create a fun knit-friendly design with personalization. And then I'm going to use a tool called our Embroiderer's Helper to mark my t-shirt for that absolutely perfect placement. Next, we're going to use Reen's favorite, which is our Snap Hoop Monster. And this is totally going to change the way you hoop. It's frustration-free. It's pain-free. It's an amazing hooping experience. And then finally, we're going to stitch out our customized design on our favorite t-shirts. So how about we just jump right into it, head over to the software and create this customized design. So what you're seeing on your screen, this is our Embroidery Tool Shed Plus software. This is a great program to begin your software journey because it's a powerful software with a really amazing price point. So what you're seeing is our workspace here in the center. We've got our icons along the top and the sides. We have our color chips along the bottom. And what you might notice is as I hover over different things, my bottom line of text changes. Next, over here on this right-hand side, I've isolated my Embroidery Tool Shed Plus software. And if I click these ellipses, I'd like to show you that we are there for you through all of the learning processes. You've got your manual right here downloadable, but we also have this icon for tutorial that are bite-size videos that show you how to navigate through the software so you can learn that software. Okay, so I'm going to take us out of our purchases over to our sequence and pull in our first design. One of the things that we always get questions about are, can we bring in purchased designs? And the answer to that is yes. What I've got prepared is this Butterfly Majesty, which is a purchase design down in your shopping cart. I'm going to pull in a design and talk about what you're seeing right on your screen, okay? Up at the top, what you're going to see is this is about 4.5 inches wide, 3.5 inches tall, and we're 22,000 plus stitches. In my opinion, this is too dense for a knit. So we need to modify this so we don't overwork that knit with an embroidery. So how are we going to do that? Well, let me just show you. So to start, I'm going to put this on the left chest. So I don't want my butterfly on an angle. So I'm going to grab that butterfly and you'll notice right on your screen, I've got some transform items. I can rotate this right on my screen and I can actually size this right on my screen as well. So if I pull a corner handle, it'll adjust proportionately. If I hold one of these centers and pull, that'll do a disproportionate. So again, 22,000 stitches at 4.5 inches tall or 4.5 inches wide. I'm going to take this down to 3.5 inches wide. And what I would like for you to notice at the top is that it automatically regenerated my stitch count. So we sized this pretty substantially. So the software is going to resequence and regenerate those stitches for that size. So we have dropped almost 7,000 stitches just by sizing it an inch. Now I can size this from here, looking at those numbers down at the bottom, or I can come right here into my panel and type in that 3.5 and it would adjust to that size I wanted as well. Next, it's still too dense with 15,000 plus stitches. I'm going to ungroup this design and work with the individual elements from this design. Now, what does that mean? So to loosen up some density, I can remove some of these complex fills. And I've isolated one. I'm going to pull it out to show you. Now think of this as just a layer of color. So I've got my coloring book and I just want to put a base down of color. That's what we're doing with these stitches right here. If I delete that out, right now we're at 15.6. If I delete that out, that takes us to 14.5 stitches. So if I delete out that base or that foundation of color, that is going to loosen up this density considerably. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete all the complex fills in each of those colorways. And so in this secondary colorway, I've got several of those complex fills. So what I'm doing is I'm holding down my control key and then clicking. So I'm holding down my control key. I'm going to click those complex fills. I'm going to scroll down a little bit more because I know there's one more that's hiding from me. And then delete all those out. And look at what we have now. We've dropped 12,000 stitches just from changing the sizing and getting rid of all of those complex fills that we just don't need. All right, so one more thing that I am going to do is I don't want this little white bit on my butterfly, so I'm just going to go ahead and take that off as well. And we want to personalize because what's good is what good is having this butterfly without some lettering above it? Okay, so I'm going to pop up here to my text, click on my screen to input some text, and over here in my properties, I am going to type in embrace change. I'm going to use my Ribbon Love. Now there are 17 different fonts within our Embroidery Tool Shed Plus. You're also going to see this PK, which is a new A to Z font that you can purchase through OESD. So we've got 17 fonts. So that's those yellow ones within the Embroidery Tool Shed Plus. I am going to do a circular path for this one and then click my apply. Now see how this is on that circular path. I can move this over my butterfly. I can size this down if I want. I can move this down. I can stretch out that circle. And I can even move the letters on that baseline if I want. Now my undo button, I call this my bestie button. So I'm going to undo that one. But I can also change the design or change how the letters interact with the other letters based off of these little triangles. So I'm going to grab one of these triangles and see how I can separate or bring it closer if I want. So if you've got a font that maybe it's got a little bit more space or you need to open it up a little bit more, that's what those little triangles there are for. Next, so let's get out of this. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to zoom in so I can see what's going on. And what I did is I came here to my zoom tool and clicked ZZ on my keyboard. What I want to do now is I want to audition what this is going to look like on the color of my t-shirt. Because my t-shirt is not a white t-shirt. My t-shirt is kind of like a mint green. So let's come down here to this screen. And this one is pretty close to what my t-shirt color is going to look like. And I don't like those colors on this t-shirt at all. Now, at your machine, you can always change that. But if you want a visual representation of what that's going to look like, you can change that right in your software. So let me show you how we're going to do that. Over here in my sequence, it is going to tell me that that first set of colors for the butterfly is that color number 21. So if I come down here and right click on that color number 21, that brings my thread palettes up. And so I can change these to any kind of thread color I want. So if I want that exquisite, I can change that to that exquisite thread. If I want any other threads, I can change it to that as well. So here's what I'm going to do is I'm a pink and purple girl. So I'm going to change that 21 to a pink. I'm going to change this next one, that 22. Let's go back. Let's click that number 22. I'm going to change that 22 to, how about this kind of minty kind of green or spearmint green? That might not work so great with this background. So that's the beauty of auditioning, is I can see that in this application versus getting to the stitch out and finding out it's not going to work. So, ooh, that one looks good. So let's go to this number 23. And I think I would like that one to be a purple. Perfect, perfect. And then my outline, I want to change that one as well. So this outline here, I would like that to be a deep blue instead. So let's go with that one. And well, that's not a deep blue. Hold on. I pulled the wrong one. That one. And so if I wanted my words to be the same color as the pink in here or the orange or the purple, I could change that as well. I'm going to change this to that pink. And so now I am incredibly happy with this design. What we've done is we've taken a purchase design, we have modified it completely to suit our needs, right? So we decreased the density by removing some of those complex fills. We've changed those colors so we can get a visual representation of what that'll look like right on our screen. And we've personalized this. Now I'm going to go one more step because I can try to center this if I wanted to, but why do that when my software can do a better job? I'm going to group my butterfly in its entirety. And then now I'm going to grab everything on my screen and use the alignment tools right within the software to line this up perfectly. I don't have to eyeball it. The software is going to allow me to do that with just a click of a button. Now from here, I've got my design, we've modified it, we've changed the colors, we've added our personalization. How can I get this design to my machine? If you have a brother or a baby lock that is Wi-Fi capable, we've got this send to machine icon. So you'll have the name of your machine. You can see I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. So you'll just click your machine and then press send. And that is going to land in the Wi-Fi section of your machine. So you just click it and then add it to embroidery and start stitching. If you don't have that capability, what you would do is you would come to this file, save as, and then from here, save it to that USB stick. Now, when I am saving it, I want to make sure I save it as the file type that my machine can read. So you've got your Brother Baby Lock formats, you've got your FOF formats, your Viking formats, your Janome, your embroidery formats. So we support every machine brand. So you click that format that you need. So I'm going to say my EXP, and I will call that, Butterfly Modified, to my thumb drive. And now I can take this thumb drive over to my machine and start stitching. It's that easy. Okay, that's how easy this is. So we're going to head back over to the presentation now, and we are going to show you how you can send this design wirelessly. So remember I showed you that send to machine icon. Here is that video so you can see this in action. So once you send it to your machine, it's going to say done. Then you're going to go over to your machine and pull up the Wi-Fi section of your machine, touch that design and add it to your embroidery. And now you can just stitch. That's how easy this is to do. And what you're seeing under your camera now is the cast of characters for that perfect embroidered t-shirt. You're going to start with a fusible no-show stabilizer, your stable cut dispenser. You're going to have Reen's favorite totally tubular hooping station. And again, remember, that's a pressing station as well. So we've got an optional wool mat that you can purchase down in the shopping cart that's got that cutout for that PAL 3 light. To prep this t-shirt to help negate that stretch, what you need to do is turn that t-shirt inside out so we can iron a fusible no-show onto our stitching area. And so that is going to be what negates that stretch. Totally tubular hooping station with our wool pressing pad. We're going to use our stable cut dispenser to cut off a little bit of that stabilizer. And then we're going to fuse that to the wrong side of your t-shirt. That is what's going to negate the stretch to give you a nice finish. Okay, so we've dressed our board. All of that bulk is on the underside of our totally tubular hooping and pressing station. So that's not interfering with our iron. So we're going to get a nice press of that fusible no-show. So now what we need to do is we need to mark our t-shirts. The hero in our marking is going to be our embroiderer's helper tool. You can use this embroiderer's helper for left and right chest logos, and you can use your embroiderer's helper for shirts that have buttons, for plackets, for a range of different things. Your embroiderer's helper comes in size small to extra large, and your big helper is going to bridge that gap from extra large to that 3X. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pop under our camera, and I'm going to show you how to prep that t-shirt for embroidery. Cast of characters for embroidery. What we did is we designed our project in our Embroidery Toolshed Plus software. This software is an absolute powerhouse. If you are new to software and you would like to dip your toe in, what this is going to give you is the ability to resize, to merge, to mirror designs. You're going to be able to change your colors. You're going to have the alignment tools. You're going to be able to arc your text, and you're going to have those monograms, which are all those things that I showed you underneath the within the software when we were playing and modifying our design. Embroidery Toolshed Plus software. The next thing is I pulled a purchase design, which is our Butterfly Majesty. That's 20 different designs to choose from. We chose this third one and made all of those modifications and decreased the density right within our Embroidery Toolshed Plus software. Our next thing we're going to do is we need to hoop our fabric with our fusible no-show stabilizer. So what I want to show is, see how stretchy this material is? It's super stretchy. And if you don't stabilize, what's going to happen is it's going to push your t-shirt material and you're going to get mountains, and your embroidery is not going to look good. You'll notice that I did fuse my fusible my fusible no-show to the inside of my shirt. See how I've got no stretch here? There's no stretch here now because that's prepped. So I've folded my t-shirt in half. I've prepped my t-shirt. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my embroiderer helpers to find that center, or to find that left chest logo. So embroiderer helper or our big helper for collars, for ribbed edging, or for buttons. Okay. Left side or right side. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab out my Target stickers, and I'm going to grab my tweezers from my OESD toolkit. I'm going to follow the instructions on my embroiderer's helper and line this up with my ribbed edge of my t-shirt. I'm going to grab off my Target sticker, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to align this on the cutout for this size medium t-shirt right there. So now I have perfect placement for where that left chest logo should go. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hoop this up. Okay, so I have pressed that fusible no-show with my hoop pad, but now what we're going to do is we're going to use our snap hoop monster to hoop this item up. So your snap hoop monster has this teal top frame. It has this corrugated center, and then it has this machine branded attachment point. So for our snap hoop monster, it has these suede or felt strips on the bottom. Now this is going to be important because I'm going to show you another hoop later that the stabilizer rides on the back. And you can't do that on this hoop because this has the felt strip. So this protects the bed of our machine. So what I would do is I would hoop up my project with my snap hoop monster, take this over to the machine and start stitching this out. Let's watch this in action, going back to our presentation. So what is under the camera this time? You've got your shirt that you've stabilized and you've marked for your embroidery. You've got your snap hoop monster. You have your hoop guard, and your hoop guard is going to keep that fabric from rolling and getting caught under your sewing field. And then you have your totally tubular hooping station with your PAL 3 laser light. So this time we're using a non-slip mat on our totally tubular hooping station in order to have this hoop not slip and slide while we are trying to hoop and dress our board. So you're going to turn that PAL 3 laser light on, which is going to give you those crosshairs. You are going to turn your t-shirt right side out. If you have, we've already put our Target sticker on our t-shirt, so we are already right side out. We're going to line that Target sticker up with that crosshair on the laser light. And so what that's going to give us is it's going to give us that perfect placement, perfectly centered within our hoop. So you're going to take that teal top frame that has that hoop guard in place, and you're going to carefully place this down in your sewing field. So because this is a flat hoop, we can adjust as necessary because we're going to have our stabilizer extending outside of our hooped area. And so now what we would do is we need to nest our fabric around our hoop. So if you don't have a machine that has a free arm system for embroidery, what we need to do is we need to negate all of that, all the rest of that fabric that would be underneath the machine. So we're going to nest all that fabric. We're going to tuck all those arms into where the only thing that's going to be riding on your machine is that hoop. So from here, what we do is now what we've got is our snap hoop monster. So this game-changing hoop is that two-piece magnetic hoop. That bottom is that flat metal piece with that attachment for each different machine brand. The teal top frame has powerful magnets that give an easier hooping experience. In my opinion, it is an absolute must if you have arthritis, if you're going to be quilting in the hoop, or if you love stitching those thick, bulky items that are usually a total bear to hoop. Okay, now is the time to get those hoops while you get some special pricing. And I'm going to talk about some additional discounts that you're going to get to take those prices even lower. Now, earlier in the presentation, Reen and I were talking about how she's got new designs that are going to be coming out that utilize those bigger hoops. And so we do have those bigger hoops for the Avenir and the Radiance. So what you're going to be getting are those snap hoop monster in an 11 by 5/8 by 18 1/4 inch of hoop space. That's just crazy talk for a flatbed machine. You're going to be able to get all of those bigger projects done quicker. And then you're going to have those designs that Reen's going to be pushing out later on in the year. So now that we've got this prepped, so we've designed our project, we have modified that project, we have stabilized our shirt to negate that stretch, we have hooped the project. Let's now stitch this out. So we're going to take that shirt that we have nested around the hoop and put that on our machine. See how that hoop guard keeps that fabric on that right-hand side from flopping into your sewing field? Because we know as soon as we turn away from the machine, that's when that happens. You're going to use your placement features on your machine to perfectly place that design, and then you're going to just stitch this out. So again, what have we done? We pulled a purchase design. We modified that purchase design. We personalized a purchase design. We showed you how to negate that stretch by using that fusible no-show stabilizer. We showed you how to place that on your knit with that totally tubular hooping station, which also can be a pressing station as well. We showed you hooping, we showed you stitching. So now that we've stitched this out, we're going to trim up any of those little jump stitches that might be showing on our knit. We're going to pull away that fusible no-show from the back. And if it doesn't pull away easy, just hit it with your iron again really quickly, and that will activate that adhesive to pull that back off again. Now, here's something that you should know about me is I always need to give myself a good 1/4 of an inch around when I'm cutting, because if I don't, I'm going to nick that fabric. So don't be a bonehead like me. Make sure you're giving yourself a 1/4 of an inch as you're trimming this all the way around. Okay. And don't trim inside, because that way the stabilizer keeps that nice and flat, and it doesn't sink into your designs. And check out this beautiful little design that we created with just a few clicks in our Embroidery Toolshed Plus software. It really is lovely. Okay, so we're almost ready for Q&A. Over in the chat, and Tammy can bring those to me live. But if you want some special pricing, we've got you covered. If you are that person who wants to add lettering, do a bit of editing, print templates for your perfect placement, or bring in your pre-purchased designs and recolor them, your Embroidery Toolshed Plus software is where you want to go, okay? Plus, that price point is really great. It's going to get you started if you are new to the Dime by OESD software and you just want to dip your toe in. And here's another thing. If you are a Brother Baby Lock owner that has that Wi-Fi capable, you can send these designs wirelessly through your software. I love that feature. I think that is a thoughtful, small design feature that, just saves us so much time. Now, Dime prides ourselves on education, and we want to be there for you every step of the way through the many platforms that we support. If you're curious about how you're going to learn your Embroidery Toolshed Plus software, don't even worry about it. We got you covered. One, we have a YouTube channel that's packed with videos. If we have a product, we also have a video on how to use that product. Now, our Dime Inspiration software group has over 6,800 members worldwide. And each of our members, they share tips, they share tricks, they show their projects that they've created. And our education team also monitors this platform and is there answering your questions and lending support and giving you those squeals when you make something that you're so proud of yourself and you just want to showcase it to the world. We're there for that too. Our software success is a twice monthly video tutorial hosted by the one and only Ashley Jones. Her last lesson was an absolute powerhouse lesson about fonts, features, and designs. So make sure you check that out and get it on your calendar for the first and third Tuesday at 1 p.m. Central Time every single first and third Tuesday. And next we have a private lesson with a Dime educator. So if you've got problems that you can't triage yourself through our many platforms, if you need additional help, you can book a time that works for your schedule with a knowledgeable Dime educator for that small charge. Okay, that's that 30-minute lesson to hone in specifically on what you are needing your assistance with. Totally Tubular Hooping Station, Reen's favorite, gives you that free arm that allows for pressing, accurate hooping, and precise placement using that perfect alignment laser, so that PAL 3 laser light. And with that special event pricing, those tubular items are a breeze to press or to hoop. And here's a teaser. We have some additional discounts to reduce those prices even further. So let's go down to the shopping cart below. That's where all those goodies that we've got for today. If you click that view product icon, you're going to get a breakout of specifics on that item. So for example, when you click view product for our hoop mat, it tells you all the ways that this is the necessity in your estrogen estuary. Then when you're ready to purchase it, you're going to add that to your shopping cart. And then there's several different pages of products. So be sure to scroll all the way down and click through all of those pages. When you are finished, you're going to click that checkout button, which is going to lead you to your show order summary. And from here, you get those discount codes. Now, I teased earlier about how we have even lower prices. So if your total is 150 or more pre-tax, if you use that Velcro discount code, that's going to get you free shipping. But guess what? These are stackable coupons. So that means if you go over 250, then you get to use two different coupons. You get free shipping with the Velcro. And then at Velcro 10, you're going to get an additional 10% off of those already low prices. And as a thank you, we wanted to give you a free design. Oops, hold on. I messed up. There we go. And as a thank you, we want to give you a free design. Okay. So this design is an adorable little design that I'm going to modify later on in the software and show you how you can use it for something completely different. How do you get it? You scroll all the way to the bottom of your shopping cart, add it to your purchases. Once you check out, the design is going to land in your email to download and create that magic. So I've thrown a lot at you so far. So how about we head over to the chat and see what's going on? So Tammy, how's it going over in the chat?
It is busy over here, April. I have a few questions. When I get back to my chat, Dolores and Glinda, I will answer your questions. But I had a question just over here, April, from Jody. She says, "Do you have to have any other software to run the Perfect Embroidery Plus?"
So to run Embroidery Toolshed Plus, that's it. So there is a free platform. I know what you meant. So we've got our Embroidery Toolshed, which is a free download. That's our foundation on which all of our other softwares build upon. So there's no charge for that one. Okay. So, but our Embroidery Toolshed Plus, that's that one that's going to give you the resize, the arc. I mean, it really is a powerhouse software, especially if you're new to software and you might have a little bit of an intimidation to it, because we're going to be there with you to hold your hand through that learning process. You know, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, you know, you can book that private lesson. You've got those embedded tutorials right within the software. One of the other things that I didn't mention is that it is Windows and Mac compatible. Now, by Mac compatible, I don't mean that you have to have a translator or anything like that. It is native Mac formatting. So when you check out, you're going to get an email for how to download, and basically you can start doing your software journey, you know, by the end of today, you know, and it's ready.
That sounds amazing. April, I had a question. You're showing a t-shirt, a long sleeve t-shirt. They want to know, would you use the same technique on a sweatshirt?
If I wanted to do, yes, I would. For a left chest logo, that's a right chest. If I want to do a left chest logo, I absolutely would. That embroiderer helper is going to set you up for success when it comes to all of those different all of those different tops. Now, later on after the chat, I'm going to show you how we're going to do a sleeve, and you would do your sweatshirt sleeve the same way. You know, on a sweatshirt, you've got lots of different places to personalize. You know, you can do it along the brim of the hood. You can do it along that collar. You know, you can do a great big embroidery on the back. You know, the limitation is just your creativity and what you want to do. So
Absolutely.
that embroiderer helper, that snap hoop monster. After chat, I'm going to show you a sticky hoop, so teaser for that. But really the biggest thing is making sure that you are negating the stretch of those knits, those sweatshirts, those types of things. If you don't use a cutaway or a fusible, so that fusible no-show, that stretch, those embroidery stitches are just going to push that knit, and you're going to have like mountains around. You're going to have alignment errors, and it's not going to look the way you want it to. So that fusible no-show stabilizer, this is going to be what you're going to want to add to your cart in order to have that amazing success.
Absolutely. All right, April, I can't wait to see what else you have. So I'm going to let you get back to it, and we will chat a little bit later at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Tammy. So keep those coming. So, you know, Tammy's a member. Tammy's actually my trainer. So she's got an absolute wealth of knowledge. Keep those questions coming. So next thing, I teased during the chat that we're going to show you how to stitch on a sleeve. So we're going to step up this knit game and stitch on this sleeve. So what am I going to do? One, just like we did before, I'm going to design this in our Embroidery Toolshed Plus software. This time we're going to mark this a little bit differently than we did with our left chest logo. This time we're going to print a template and we're going to use our print and stick target paper. Next to my snap hoop monsters and my sticky hoops, this is my most used tool for embroidery is my print and stick target paper. The next thing is we're going to show another invaluable hoop, which is that sticky hoop. And finally, we're going to take this over to our embroidery machine to stitch this out. Okay, so if you already think that Embroidery Toolshed Plus is amazing, then you're really going to be blown away with how easy it is to step up our t-shirt game. So what we're going to do now is we're going to modify 2 different designs to create a completely new design. So what have I done? I have pulled in my, hold on, let me just pull it in. It's thinking. I'm still stuck on my other one. I'm going to pull in a new design. I'm going to change my background color. And I'm going to pull in my free design. So let me just pull that one since it was stuck before. So here is that free design. So that way you check out. So it's the last item in your shopping cart, check out, and this is going to land in your email. So what am I going to do? I'm not going to use these as hearts. We're going to use this as something completely different. So I can't isolate individual parts of the design because this is grouped together. So to start, we're just going to ungroup our design. I am going to delete these bottom 3 because I don't need it. I'm going to zoom in. I'm just going to hit that ZZ on my keyboard. And from here, what I want to do is I want to delete these complex fills. So this complex fill, and I also would like to delete these run stitches around. Oops, I didn't delete the complex fill, so that's okay. I'll use my bestie button here to take me right back. I want to grab these stitches here, delete that out, and from here, I'm going to delete those run stitches. Well, April, let me try that again. Let's grab that run stitch, delete that out, grab this run stitch, and delete that one out. Okay, so what am I left with? I'm left with this nice loose design, and that's going to make sense why I did this here in just a little bit. Okay, so from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this second part and use those transform features right on my screen to rotate, move, and then I'm actually going to size it as well. So I'm going to grab that corner handle and size this down a little smaller. Okay. So what I'm creating is I'm creating wings for a new butterfly. Next, when you purchase your Embroidery Toolshed Plus software, you're going to get this butterfly to work with and start with. So I'm going to pull this butterfly onto my screen, come back to my sequence. Notice it's grouped, so let's ungroup this butterfly. And the only part of this butterfly I need is just the body. I don't need any of the colorful pieces here. What I'd like you to notice is that the head is in orange. So I'm going to come over to this orange, and that is going to be, if I click on that, it's going to be this satin run over in my sequence. I'm going to go ahead and change this to that gray. See how it changed it to that gray? And then just move this down with the rest of the body. So from here, what does that mean I can do? From here, that means I can delete all of those pieces and all of those colors that I don't need. So I'm going to grab this wing and all the way through to that color wing and delete that out, leaving me with just this body. That's how easy that is, okay? Let's grab this body and move this into place over my little butterfly wings we created from our free design. Okay, look at how cool this is, you guys. So we've created our own little butterfly out of hearts and another design. So here's something I want to show you is that it's not going to stitch out efficiently. So when I go to my stitch out, oh, hold on. Let me do one more thing. Let's select that butterfly. Let's make a copy and a paste and move that one out of the way. Let's flip this one and let's size it. Okay. Let's make another copy, another paste. Let's move this one down. Let's flip this one, size this one a little bit smaller as well. So from here, when I go to my stitch player, see how I'm going to have 9 different stops. We have the ability within the software to color sort these to where it will stitch all of these pinks together, all of these rose colors together, and then all of that body. Don't worry about these jump stitches. Those are just jumps that we can trim. So now we've got an efficient stitch out. If I want to send it to my machine, send to machine, it's going to land in your Wi-Fi, or file save as, save it to that file format that you need. But this time we want to print a template. So from here, what we're going to do is I'm going to come over to my print preview. And here is my design on my print and stick target paper. It's translucent. I will be able to see exactly where I want to put this. So print this out on my print and stick target paper. I now have a design that I have created straight from the software using 2 different designs. So what are we going to do now? So we need to prep our sleeve. Now our sleeve, we need to take the seam out. So you're going to grab your little froggy prints and you're going to take that seam apart to open that up. So remove those stitches. Those are usually serge stitches. So you'll have to do a little picking with your froggy prints, but you need to open up that sleeve. Okay. Once you've opened up that sleeve, you are going to negate the stretch again, just like we did before. So you're going to take your fusible no-show mesh or your fusible no-show, and you are going to fuse that on the inside of the area you want to stitch. So on the wrong side of your t-shirt, fuse that into place. That's going to negate that stretch, so that way we get a nice stitch out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head under the camera and let me show you how this is going to work. So here is our print and stick target paper. Here is that design that we created within our Embroidery Toolshed Plus software. From hearts, we made our own personalized butterfly. So print and stick target paper, it is repositionable, it is see-through, and it has those crosshairs. So what have I done? I have prepped the inside of my sleeve with my fusible no-show. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up, and I want to put my design along this center. So I creased my center. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on my laser light and set this along that center. So I can use this for a lot of different things. So I can see where that center of that design is going to hit. So I can place my design along that crosshair. And now what I can do is I can bring my sticky hoop over. So my sticky hoop is a great option for those items that are hard to hoop, okay? So remember how earlier I showed you the back of the Snap Hoop Monster and how it had those felt strips along the back? Your sticky hoop does not have those felt strips because your sticky tearaway stabilizer is going to ride along that back. So this rides on the bed of your machine, protecting the bed of your machine. So what do? So I am going to take my Snap Hoop Monster. I'm going to turn my sticky hoop. I'm going to set my laser light and find my centers. So I found the center of my design and where I wanted to put it on my design or on my sleeve. And so now what I'm going to do is I've got my center using that PAL 3 laser light. So this is centered in my hoop. I would take this over to my embroidery machine, use my placement features to find those centers, remove my print and stick target paper, and then stitch this design out perfectly. But I'm a big one for not using single use items. So I want to be able to use this for a bunch of different things. So what else could I use this sticky hoop for? I could use that sticky hoop for those items that you cannot hoop. So, you know, these Dollar Tree mats, you would get a hoop burn on this. So not having that inner hoop to damage this project, I can now hoop these mats. What about, you know, my sister-in-law is about to get married and she wants little toiletry bags for her bridal party. But how do you hoop on that? Well, that's where this sticky hoop comes into play. What I can do is I've got no inner hoop to impede my hooping. So I can use this sticky hoop for this as well. So heading back to our presentation, the versatility of a print and stick target paper. It is perfect for quilting in the hoop, for your applique, for your fussy cutting, for auditioning designs. It's translucent, so you can see your fabric through the template for accurate placement, but you can also see it for fussy cutting if you're doing an applique as well. It's adhesive, so it prevents the shifting, so you're getting accuracy, but it's also repositionable, but tacky enough to use that for multiple different things. That sticky hoop, this game changer. This metal one-piece hoop provides that flat surface for that hoopless embroidery. No teal top frame. The sticky stabilizer is attached to the bottom of the hoop, so the stabilizer rides on the bed of your machine, so it protects your machine. It also comes with 5 different pieces of the stable stick tearaway, so you can start embroidering immediately. All right, so what can you do with this sticky hoop? Like I showed under the camera, it's incredible for those bulky projects you wouldn't be able to hoop. So plush animals, toiletries, those placemats. But you also have fabrics that you don't want to hoop as well. So think that velvet, which would crush, or that organza that's just going to want to slip and slide all over the place. The sticky stabilizer holds those fabrics securely, so you get those perfect embroideries for those hard to hoop items. So let's stitch this out. We designed it, we hooped it, we used our print and stick target paper for our perfect placement. We have our sticky hoop with our tearaway stabilizer on the bottom. We're going to use those placement features to find that center perfectly. Once we find that center, we're going to remove that print and stick target paper because we don't want to stitch over that. And now we're going to stitch out our design. Okay? Stitch out that design. That sticky hoop is going to hold everything securely while you stitch out this design that we have customized. Remember, in Embroidery Toolshed Plus, we took hearts and made our own design from the hearts. Because we have stitched this out on a tearaway stabilizer, now we can just tear away that embroidery from the stabilizer. Our fusible no-show is still holding that fabric secure and negating that stretch. So you're going to tear away all of that extra stabilizer. You're going to pull away that fusible no-show that we don't need anymore. And now you're going to trim around those designs. So again, if that does not pull away easily, just hit it with your iron real quick and give yourself that 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And now we have that cute little embroidery on our sleeve. But what about those center chest designs? I told you that I was going to show you how we're going to do that. How do we get accurate placement for those? How about a challenge accepted? That is our perfect placement kit. It comes with 12 different templates. So you get women's V-necks, crew necks, scoop necks, and then you're also going to get the men's crew necks as well. So you're going to have sizes small all the way through a 4XL. You can use this for your embroidery and you can use this for your HTV as well. So let's pop back over to the software one more time, and let me show you a center chest logo. So can we pull in purchase designs? The answer to that is yes. So I'm going to pull in a Joanne Banco Just Jackets, and I'm going to pull in a charm. And look at all of these cutie little charms that you have to choose from. I'm going to pull in this little star. Okay. From here, of course, we're not just going to use this as is. We're going to add some text. Click on our screen to activate the text. I'm going to misspell love on 2 different lines. I'm going to do a right justification. I'm going to change my sizing to about 1 inch. Let's see, and then click apply. Oh, well, that's really pretty, but you know what? Let's do it as if I wanted to do it as an applique, look at how easy that is to change. I don't want it that big. I just want it in 1 inch. There we go. Now from here, this is our applique. I want to give this some breathing room. Remember those little icons on the screen I was telling you about that give me breathing room? So I can use those to pull this apart. You'll notice my O and my E are way too close together. Up here in my properties, I'm going to expand this to 75% instead of the 25% to give some breathing room. All right, so let's open that up again. And I'm pretty darn happy with how this is looking. But it doesn't say love, does it? It says, well, I don't know what it says. So why don't we grab that star and flip that up to make that into a V? And that's how easy this is. Let's grab all of this. How big is it? Ooh, we're under 3 inches. Let's just go ahead and make this a 4-inch design. How do I send to the machine? Here, send to machine here, or file save as, right? Let's print out our template for it. So remember, we're going to print this out on our print and stick target paper to give us that design. And what we're going to do now is head back under the camera to show you what we've got. So here is my design that I have printed out on my print and stick target paper. I have my shirt prepped with my fusible no-show because I need to negate that stretch, right? What am I going to use? I am going to use my perfect placement kit for center chest. So I've pulled my scoop neck, but also we've got V-necks, we've got crew necks, we've got a whole bunch of different ones to choose from. So center chest and children's wearables. So how do I set this design perfectly? So I'm going to pop this into my center. I like to fold down the paper from my print and stick so I don't have so much that's sticking. And you'll notice that I've got those center lines. So I can line this up along the top of my design and my center and just pull this off. So now I can take this to my machine and stitch this and find my placement for this, stitch it out perfectly. But let's go one more thing. Because what if I wanted to have this design, but I also wanted to do a little sleeve design? When we have our print and stick target paper, it's going to do those crosshairs that are also diagonals. So when I take this little swoop and put it on that diagonal and open up this sleeve, look at what I've got now. So now I've got 2 different customized embroideries that I've created right in the software. It's really that easy. So let's talk about and finalize up with our must-haves. Successful embroideries are going to start with your good foundation with quality products. That is your fusible no-show and your embroidery tool shed plus. Those are your perfect starting points. To stitch on those knit t-shirts, these 4 items are going to help you achieve those flawless finishes. That essentials bundle is going to aid in hooping because you have that free arm system. Your snap hoop monster in tandem with your totally tubular hooping station, easy, pain-free hooping, perfect placement. Your center chest placement kit is going to allow you to find the centers of all of those tops. And finally, our embroiderer helpers and our big helpers are going to take that guesswork out of positioning your left and right chest logos. Additional must-haves are going to be your print and stick target paper in conjunction with that sticky hoop is going to give you that perfect placement every single time. So make sure you're adding those bundles and those hoops to your shopping cart so you can take advantage of those specialty discounts and that free shipping and that 10% off if you are meeting those thresholds. So much information packed into a 60-minute. Tammy, I'm going to pull you back over and see what kind of final questions we have.
Well, April, I did just see this question that just came in from Brenda. She says, besides the fusible, you used another stabilizer. What was that stabilizer that you hooped?
What was the stabilizer that I hooped? So I used a
Yep.
fusible no-show. The other thing I will tend to use, especially with a knit, I'm going to use a topper. So it's just a wash away topper. And what a topper does is it keeps those stitches floating on top of the garment instead of kind of embedding. So it gives a really sharp, nice professional look. So I used our fusible no-show. I used our print and stick target paper to create or to print out those designs, that perfect placement kit, those embroidery helpers, and the sticky hoop and the snap hoop monster.
Yeah. And sometimes, April, if I notice that it's a kind of a little bit stitch heavy design, I may also just hoop a little tearaway just in case I know that you say if if you wear it, don't tear it. But just if I know there's a lot of stitches, I will float that in there so that then I can tear it away because you have that fusible on there. So I know that fusible is going to stay there too. I
Absolutely.
would just play it by ear. If you see a little bit puckering start, just kind of put a piece of extra stabilizer
Mhm.
underneath there.
Absolutely. And the tearaway is not going to hurt anything because the fusible no-show is what's stabilizing the fabric and keeping that fabric from stretching. The tearaway underneath is just providing another layer of stabilization, but the fusible no-show is what's negating the stretch. That's really what we say when we say if you wear it, don't tear it. What is against the fabric is what needs to be that
Right.
cutaway.
Yep. All
Perfect.
right, April,
Well,
looks like all
Tammy,
my questions have been answered. I do want to remind everybody the codes. I forgot to put it over there. It's Velcro for give free shipping over $149.99 and Velcro 10 if you want that 10% off. So make sure that you guys um, use those discount codes. But they were great over here. You know, Reen always brings a great crowd with her. So thank you, Reen, for bringing in some wonderful people. It's great to be back, April. So thanks for having me over here as well.
oh, Tammy, I couldn't have done it without you. My superhero behind the curtain. I appreciate you. I'd like to remind everyone that you've got 48 hours to rewatch and shop until you drop. Until then, Reen, Embroidery's Garden, thank you so much for hosting today's event. We can't wait to see you at the next event. Take care, everyone.